everyone. My name is Victoria, and I am the new teen librarian for the Waco-McLennan County Libraries. I am filming this to tell you about a book that I just read called The Girl from Shadow Springs by Ellie Cipher. This book is a fantasy dystopian western, which is a really interesting combination I don't see too often, but it was really fun and I really enjoyed it. If you like the Hunger Games or if you like the Dustland series by Moira Young, it has a very similar feel to it. We have a strong heroine who really doesn't put up with a lot of nonsense. And if you liked the dialects in the Dustland series, this has a little bit of the dialects, but not quite so strong. Our character is named Marjorie, or Jory as she's referred to throughout the book, and she lives with her younger sister Brenna in a vast frozen wasteland. Now, in this story, the entire northern half of the United States is completely frozen over, and it's only the South that has managed to remain warmer. They're more economically prosperous, so that causes a lot of social tension that we're going to see throughout the book, especially when Ellie has to meet a Southerner and work with him. Jory and Brenna are attacked by this guy and his weird, huge wolf. Jory scavenges for items that she can use, like to sell or trade, so that she can support herself and her sister. Her parents have died. And this guy comes and he says, "You've stolen something from me and I need it back." Jory just scavenged something from a body of someone who had died. But she's like, "Who are you? I have no idea what you want." She tries to, give him what he wants from the body, but he's like, "It's not here." And the man, it takes her sister and says, "Well, I have your sister, so you're going to have to bring it to me if you want to see your sister again." And so Jory's just like completely freaking out. She eventually teams up with this young Southerner named Cody, and this book is basically their journey to go find her sister. Jory and Cody have very different ways of looking at the world. Cody's a little bit more academic. He believes in things that Jory thinks are just fairy tales and myths, but that's where the fantasy part comes in, because you don't actually know what in the book is going to remain a myth or what is actually going to become reality in the book. That's one of the things I think the author did really well. She kept building up that doubt and that suspense, because every time something new would happen that was just a little bit off, you didn't know if there was like a real life reasonable explanation in the book or whether that was part of the fantasy elements coming out. I will say it is a bit slow paced, but it has plenty of action. And I do advise to keep an eye out on the small details. They will come into play later, and it'll make it a lot easier to understand what happens if you've been paying attention to the little things throughout the book. But like I said, it's still packed with plenty of action. It does have a bit of violence and gore, so if you don't like that in a book, maybe just read cautiously. But it's not too bad, it's not too intense, but it's definitely there. If I had to choose one thing that I loved about this book, I would have to say it is Jory. She is an unsympathetic, sympathetic character. She's rough, she's gruff, she's downright rude for most of the book. But you start to like her, you really start to like her from early on, because you know what she cares about so much is her sister and her family, and you can't help but look past her harshness as, she doesn't have her parents, she's lived in a harsh environment, she's trying to support her sister, and now her sister is gone. And so you can understand why she is so harsh with people and why she's such a harsh, untrusting person. And I think what this book does wonderfully is that it builds on Jory's story, not just the plot of going to find her sister, but who Jory is as a person. And honestly, I would love to see a sequel for this book. I didn't see that she's writing one, but I think she has so much to do with not just the characters that we saw in this book, but the characters that she mentioned in previous characters, like her mother and her father. I feel like there's so much more to explore in that universe. And I think from a social standpoint, she has set up a lot to explore too, like the dynamic between the North and the South. Well, I don't want to tell you what happens, but after, the end of the book, how are things going to be now between those two very different segments of the population? And how are people going to react to that? Is it going to be a good thing, or are there more troubles ahead? But so I think a prequel and then a sequel would be awesome to see. So let's hope she writes something. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Sign-ups for summer reading start on May 1st, and summer reading doesn't start till June and July. So definitely keep checking out our website and our social media. And we are going to have fun this summer. Finally, we get to do some in-person programming, which is going to be awesome. So we are very excited about that, and we hope to see you there. See you next time. Bye.